Welcome to Grow Your Strength. We have a new routine today. I'm going to get started the old way because I always like to do a little breathing and just downregulate the nervous system, bring the awareness into the movement and time ahead that you're doing to take care of your health. So just find a comfortable position, micro adjust anything that doesn't feel quite right, and just feel free to close your eyes. Just relaxing into the breath cycles for the next minute. As you come out of your next breath, I'm going to take us to reverse tabletop in this program. So I'm just lying face up, adjusting my low back, and then slowly taking my feet off the floor so that my knees hover over my hips. Then take the hands, fingertips to the roof, but then anchor the shoulders and shoulder complex down towards the floor and away from your ears. Okay, so now I've got my sort of core box set. I don't have a big curve in my back. I've just teetered that down a little bit, and that takes a bit of work to hold this here. Now, if this is hard, then just breathe through some cycles in this position. And if you want more of a challenge, you can start to open up your arm and leg on a diagonal, slowly looking at your fingertips as you reach your arm overhead. I bring it back to my starting position and switch sides. And after 1 to 3 passes like this, you feel a little fatigue in through your core. You can hug your knees in and maybe just roll to the side. I feel like I'm sort of ironing out my back and readjusting my postural position there, and then I'll reset and try some diagonal reaches again. So as you go through these, challenging yourself to hold the posture of your core, continue with your breathing. Holding your breath would be a signal that you've reached too far. Keep this in mind. You want your fingers, hands, and feet to be relaxed. This should be work, not too easy, not too hard. Okay, 2 or 3 resets of that, and then we'll transition to the knee bends and ankle work, and I'm going to do a hip stretch today. So I've got a loop band around my foot. I'm resetting my position. My non-working leg is straight, but yours can be bent if that's easier on your back. And then you just take some time to fully extend the knee, pushing the heel to the roof, pulling the toes down, and alternating that with a knee hug. Checking that my leg is nice and straight. About 3 to 5 of these moves, just whatever feels like it needs the work as you go through the different parts of the ankle rotations. Point and flex to start. Opening up the toes, then taking the sole of the foot in and out, changing the overall angle of your foot by pointing the toes to the roof and then pulling the toes back down. And then here's the full circles, trying to keep my legs still, focus on improving my ankle mobility, spreading the toes. And then here's the hip stretch. I've got the band around my right foot, and I'm just guiding my right leg across my body, keeping my right hip on the floor. I was just like pausing because I was having a fairly intense stretch response from the back side of my leg. And I'm just gonna pulse in and out slowly, or you can just hold the stretch and do some breath cycles here. I like to have enough slack in the band that the posture through the shoulders is not tense or rounded up. And I'll do that one more time. Excellent. Okay, now switch sides. Refined the posture into the knee hugs, straight leg, and just taking some time to fully extend the knee. If you're tight here, back it off. Use a strap to help you. And then into the ankle work, holding the legs still, spreading the toes, the rolls, the circles, and then the cross-body stretch. Give myself an opportunity to match that intensity on the other side. Breathing through that stretch a little bit. Side lying position for the hip cars. I'm kind of giggling to myself because I say, oh, we've got a new routine. And it's really just the same exercises in a new order, but no, it's not. I have changed quite a few things, but I go with the gold standard of the things I feel are important currently. And I don't think this is going to change for a while. Working on our hip mobility, our ankles, shoulders, the prime movers, making sure we have the best access to our range of motion, working on it as regularly as you can. It's really going to help everything. So here's a few slow circles. This is a core exercise too, because I'm maintaining this posture and breath, lots going on in the deep hip as I circle around 2 or 3 times each way. Then you can switch sides. Roll this top hip forward just a little so you're not accessing anything through your low back. Can you breathe in and out through your nose? Now would be a good time to just do some slow breath cycles that way. Super duper. After you finish that side, we'll go to half kneeling. And if you need some support on your down knee, then just tuck a foam piece or a pillow underneath your knee. This position is a little harder to breathe in the nice deep breath. So just be mindful as you set yourself up and take a few pulses, knee tracking over front foot. Be mindful that you're not elevating into the neck and shoulders. Okay, we still want to focus on the deep breath. So just slowly pulsing forward, getting a little stretch in through the front of my thigh and my hip. And then after a few pulses, take the arm from the down knee overhead and just reach fingertips to the roof as you pulse forward. Just kind of a little slack off of that as I come back upright, and then I'm reaching, trying to create some length between my knee right up through my fingers. We'll do one more. Good. Okay, now we'll take the front foot out on an angle and adjust the heel in just a wee bit as you pulse in this direction, just watch that you're not lifting your heel. Okay, so you want to get some ankle stretch there, and just find a spot that works. And after about 3 pulses there, then we'll anchor this hand on the thigh and reach over this way with the fingertips. And coming back up, just take it slow, about 3 of these, and then we'll switch sides. You can gently turn and look up. There's my deep breath. Good stuff. Looks great. Okay, so we'll switch, and just taking some time to make sure I'm not riding too high on this hip. Arms relaxed, pulsing forward, being mindful of the breathing. And then taking the arm up of the down knee, reaching fingertips as you pulse forward. Getting a nice little stretch response there, but I'm not going into an arch back. So I'm just here, not here. Okay, so keep that in mind. Front foot out, adjust the heel. Good. Let's take some pulses on the angle and then opening up. I have no idea if you can hear that loud noise, but there's a bunch of work going on in my apartment this week with the drains. In fact, I think I might have mentioned that last week. That's still going on. No flushing anything between 10 and 2. Okay, bridges. Let's start with some double bridges. And you're just going to warm up the hip hinge, feet about hip width apart. Take some time to adjust your low back. So if you sit naturally with a fairly big curve in your back, you want to adjust the hips and tuck the curve down so that your rib cage and torso feel more aligned. As you lift your hips up into extension, activate your hip muscles a little bit. Come down, release. Up, squeeze. Down, release. We'll aim for 10 of these. Boy, I really hope that you can't hear that noise. It's kind of annoying, but maybe it's only for me. There we go. It stopped. Phew. That was going to make teaching the class hard. All right. Maybe it's too far away that with this little mic here, you're not hearing it. Okay, so after the double bridges, I'd like you to explore the single leg. Now, everybody's different in the single leg. Some people's bodies aren't ready for the single leg. I believe that we should be working the single leg position up to 15 reps per side. Maybe 1 or 2 is enough. You feel like you might fatigue, you're not keeping the form of the level hips or getting the hip extension. This comes from a podcast I was listening to recently, Dr. Peter Attia, about his project. I guess it's the centenarian decathlon. So things that we do in everyday life that are going to make us worthy of the aging process, the longevity needed, because we're all living longer, but we want to live with good quality. And one of the things in his events for the decathlon, I guess, if you will, are 15 single leg bridges per side. So work yourself up to that. In fact, in some of my classes, I already was programming 15, but often I'd say, 3 sets of 5 rather than 15 per side. See where you get to. Second part of this is the clamshells. I'm going to do the first set of clamshells without a band. And in this program, I'm keeping it to 2 of the same exercises, but just 1 rep. So here's 1 clamshell of external rotation. My top hip is rolled forward. I feel the work there. Then I bring the foot and knee up and go 1 into the internal rotation. So knee only, feet are relaxed. Find a height, slowly internally rotate your hip, and I'll say up to about 5 of these through 1 and 1, 5 times around. Was that clear enough? Okay. Talking to myself. Okay, now this is a nice way to do it for the first round without a band because you really can access what range you have, right? There's your internal and there's your external, and the band often limits the range but adds the resistance, so they're both beneficial. Okay, now we'll switch sides. Roll that top hip forward. Feet are relaxed, nice deep breathing. There's my 5. Okay, now I'm going to take us back to the bridges. I'm going to go straight into the single leg bridge. But if you wanted to go to doubles, and if you were going to stick with doubles, you could just put perhaps a resistance band around your knees now, or just do what we did the first time. But here's my setup for my single leg. Chin tuck, coming up into full hip extension, not into my back. Any higher, I'd feel that extension kind of stress into my back. So make sure this line is here. Try to get it up to full extension, but not too high. All right, better count. This is going to take a little bit more time to try and get up to 15 per side. So if you're feeling fatigue and you feel like you can't keep the rep range going to 15, this is around 10. I'm going to switch. Set, chin. Here I go. I'm not going too fast, not using momentum. Okay, switching sides. 5 more to go per side. Two. Good. Same set of clamshells with the option of putting one of these loop resistance bands on. Okay, so it's one knee only. And one. Lift the knee and foot, internally rotate. There you go, looking for 5 rounds. Nice. Other side. Nice job. I'm going to take the band off, pull my knees into my shoulders, just give myself a little egg roll again. And before we get off the floor, let's go through the reverse tabletop core exercise just one more time. So I've reset my position, anchored in my shoulders, Establish deep breathing and some reaches on the diagonal. Being mindful that the back isn't arching off the floor. Can turn and look overhead. Integrate your neck. Different angles, probably a good idea, as long as you can stay in that controlled reach area. You're not holding your breath. Nice work. Okay, so just one round of that this time, and then we'll come up to standing. Feel free to grab a little water. I'm going to start with the lateral lunge. Okay, so feet are wide. Just taking some time to sit to one side and back up and over to the other side. Nice. Get a little stretch response. After a few of those, change the foot position, maybe a little narrower, and we'll go into some hip hinges. So just sliding the hands down the thighs and then coming up, opening the shoulders. I like to inhale as my hips go back. Exhale as I stand up, get the posture. After 5 of these, we'll go into the squat body weight. Feet can be hip width or wider, toes can be straighter turned out, and you just start to pull yourself down. In the squat, the knees go wide, the hips go down. You want to maintain your back position so you only go to a depth you can control. If you feel this losing this back position, then don't go any deeper. 5 squats. And after 5 squats, we'll take it into an alternating curtsy lunge. So just taking one foot, taking it across. You can just dip the back knee a little bit or a lot, and then switching sides. Just going side to side, getting some good hip stretch and strength. So I mentioned the centenarian decathlon, and I used that as that podcast of Dr. Atia's to put a few of the ideas into this program. And one of them is testing the balance. So we do a lot of balance exercises in this class so far, but not a lot of time to balance. And so I'm going to take us to a 30-second time balance. Please do this near something if you feel like it'll be a challenge. It's 30 seconds just standing on one foot. So let's prepare the base foot, spread the toes, slight bend in the knee, and then take the back foot off the floor. And I'm going to time us for 30 seconds. All you want to do is see if you can make the little micro adjustments to stay in this position, floating your weight over your foot. Try not to scrunch your toes too much. If you have to tap down or hang on to something, that's okay. Just kind of reset and come back. We have 10 seconds to go. Deep breathing, not really doing too much except challenging ourselves for time. Okay, so that's 30 seconds. So switching, preparing your opposite foot, and here we go, up into the balance on this side. Same deal. Are you noticing any difference in the difficulty? So this is one of the events that he lists being as good as we age. So being able to balance on one foot for 30 seconds. We have 10 more seconds on this side. 5 more seconds. and break. Now we'll switch back to side one. We're only going to do 15 seconds with our eyes closed. And I will tell you, I was humbled by my test the first 2 times I did it this week. So be near something, stay safe, okay? When you're ready here, we're going to lift up the back foot and then close your eyes. Five more seconds. And break. Switching. Prepare your foot. Look at something, get ready. Lift the back foot and then now close your eyes. And that's 15 seconds on that side. Okay, I couldn't watch because I had my eyes closed. Let's go into curtsy lunges with the option of some load. Okay, so the same thing we did in the warm-up. I'm going to take some dumbbells. I'll speak to the balance as I'm doing my set. So this is just alternating sides and coming back up, posturally switch sides, about 5 per side. So I've done the 15-second balance. That would probably be my 4th time this week with my eyes closed. And I noticed a dramatic improvement this morning. So isn't that nice that while I was taping it, I got an improvement? So that's so encouraging. The brain wants to learn how to do the have the motor control to do these things. We just have to practice. So that was a really good personal example. So building some balance challenges into our routine, some with the eyes closed, is really going to help. And once we achieve that's what we want to maintain. Squatting, slow count down for up to 8 squats. You can change the weights. You could go body weight. Just a slow down and up. Sometimes I'll say go 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, but just make it your own. Nice job. Moving into a single leg hinge with or without the option of weight. So I'm going to jump right into holding a weight, getting my balance on one foot and hinging to the depth I can control. Lots going on here, 3 to 5 per side. Take a breath in. As you hinge, you want to be mindful that the weight doesn't round your upper back. Stay nice and tall in your posture. Don't worry about the depth. If this is as far as you can control, then that's fine. And then just come back up. 3 to 5, switch feet. Nice. Okay, so the next 2 exercises are on the floor. The first is cat-cow, 3 cycles. Take some time to gift your spine some movement through your low back, shoulder blades, neck, rounding that back up, pushing the floor away, maybe getting a little stretch through the shoulder blades and back of the neck as you drop your head. After your 3 cycles, we move into a plank or push-up variation. So depending on where you are at with this, you can Stay on the floor, step back into a high arm plank. You could just hold that for a moment or two. If your push-up variation is on the wall, perhaps try a plank on the floor and then come up to the wall. If you have been working on your push-ups where you step back, perhaps do a slow lower to the floor. I have some students putting pillows under their front side here. We do want to do mini push-ups if that will help us train to get our full push-up practice in. If you're on the wall, use your shoulder blades. Show the wall who's boss. Pull yourself in. Push away. The rest of the body is like a plank. That looks great. Okay, so let's go through this set again. We'll start with the weighted curtsy lunges. Step back, get control of your balance, drop the back knee a little or a lot. If this, for some reason, doesn't agree with you, you could just tap your toe and come back up. You don't necessarily have to go for the full dip. The weight at the end of the 5 and 5 reps, it should feel not too easy, not too hard. So you're modifying based on how much you're holding and the difficulty this exercise presents for you. For the squats, I'm going to go with a slightly heavier weight. Hold the dumbbells at my shoulders. 8 squats. Breathing in on the lower, nice and slow and controlled. Find your posture as you stand up. Excellent. That added a degree of difficulty. I feel my heart rate going up. Okay, single leg hinge. So I'm taking some time to set up my foot, spread my toes. A lot going on with these hinges and these balance exercises. Don't get frustrated. Practice. It's like you're drawing a line in the sand with this foot that goes back. Try not to have that line go crooked, right? So nice and straight with the line as you go back, coming back up to your tall posture. Now, if you're in the standing push-up and you want to do standing cat-cow, that works. You just roll forward. You can turn your hands in, come up. Let the weight of your head open your posture and turn your hands out. Okay, so this is your standing flexion, the rotation internally of the shoulders, extension, external rotation of the shoulders. Then into your push-up variation at the wall, on the floor. Establish your plank, spread the fingers. I'm not in a shrug. Little activation of my hips. Control. You kind of have an inner dialogue of how many you know you can do. My little push-up hack is just to take a quick break, less than 20 seconds, reset. Maybe I can do 1 or 2 more. Whether you're at the floor or the wall, the hack works. Okay. Carrying a weight equal in both hands if you have that to you for 30 seconds. And then for those, pardon me, yeah, we're going to start with 30 seconds. So if you have 2 equal weights, carefully pick those up and hold for 30 seconds. I'll start timing now. You could take a few steps back and forward, but just be mindful of how this feels. This is part of the centenarian decathlon, and it's quite shocking if you're not used to working with weight, how much weight Dr. Attia prescribes. 10 more seconds for working up to. This isn't something I would recommend on day 1. Okay, carefully put the weight down. It's 25% of your body weight for up to a minute. Exercise 2, we're going to go through shoulder cars with our feet side by side. So just take a ball and we're just simply going through one shoulder car. If your shoulders are healthy and you can do a weighted ball or a 1 or 2 pound dumbbell, that'd be fine, but I'd be really mindful to be doing that until you've established your full movement through your shoulder cars for a while. I've been doing shoulder cars for a couple of years now, so now I've got the strength to use a weighted ball, but I still have to be very focused that I'm not rotating, getting into my back or changing my posture as I do this with my arm. There's just this tendency to want to turn and get a little bit more out of that. Sometimes I put my arm across here to just give myself that reminder that this is shoulder only. Push back, figure out where your shoulder will let your arm go. Do not move through pain. Somehow work around it, shorten your range. Nice deep breathing will help tell your brain that this is safe. We're trying to get stronger, improve our shoulder mobility. So this is a version of controlled articular joint is articular rotation. And following one on each side, I'm going to take us to a bicep curl and an overhead press. So here's my bicep curl, and here's my overhead press. You want to be working with a weight that you feel you're in control of. Again, not too easy, not too hard. Your rep range could be 6, 8, 10. You can change the angles of these bicep curls, change the angles on the shoulders. If you feel it's safe, don't ever put yourself into a vulnerable position. Little check of my feet, not scrunching my toes, breathing deep. The core exercise too, pressing the floor away. Okay, internal dialogue says 1 more with good quality. Great. I'm going to take us back to our carry, and then we'll do a row and a tricep extension. So 25% of your body weight would be a lot for a minute. Whatever you have, perhaps you're going to have to build yourself something to start lifting and holding a little bit more. If you can stand, you can take a step back and a step forward. Timer's on. Okay, there's just something about holding a weight in both hands that forces you to be upright in your posture and a lot going on with your core. About 10 more seconds. The way you pick up and put down these weights is like a deadlift or a hinge. The hips go back, you bend your knees and carefully put those weights down onto the floor. Nice job. Now I'm doing the row and tricep extension with the same weights that I used for my bicep curl and overhead press. Now here's my row and here's my tricep extension. I'm back to the row. I'm in a slight hinge position. Sometimes in a program, like now, for example, you have these exercises that are sort of two for one, and you're always going to be limited by your weakest movement, right? So generally speaking, you can row more than you can extend through your triceps. So don't be discouraged by that. There's different goals for different ways of programming things, and just be happy with the row. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, work back into the tricep extensions, nice and equal. That looks great. Now I'm going to go with a 1, 2, 3 freeze, and then we'll go through the 2 exercises, the 2 for ones, one more time. Now here's the 1, 2, 3 freeze without weight. Okay, I'm trying to stop and balance as I 1, 2, 3. You could take some weight. Be mindful of how it feels. We want to land heavy, weight or no weight. You want to create some force, ground force reaction through your foot, through your ankle, knee, hip. Change the angle. Five more seconds. And last rep. Okay, taking your weights for bicep curls and overhead press. Connecting through my feet, looking straight ahead. 6, 8, 10 reps. Not too fast, just opening up my shoulders, trying to create some nice equal strength on both sides. Work the up, work the down. Inner dialogue says one more. Never push out a rep that you're not sure of. You don't want to risk that possibility of injury. Hip hinge, row, pull those shoulder blades together, extend back, breathe. Matching your reps there, row and tricep. I guess that's kind of easy, come to think of it. I want to thank you for building a stronger version of yourself with me today. Growing strength with a group is always easier.